Hey everybody. No, you're not imagining things. If you saw me post that I was doing this video a moment ago, and then it disappeared, you're not crazy. I started the stream and then I realized I had double audio going and it was not great. So I did not want to make anybody either now or in the future listen to double audio the entire way through. So I decided to delete the other one and restart the stream. So we're exactly where we started a second ago. Um, Here's the thing. Hopefully, we won't have any more issues, and we'll have some people join us tonight because I really want to share this with you guys. This is something that's really very cool, and there's an interesting story about how it came into my possession. But this magic kit has to be close to 100 years old. It's a very old magic kit, and it's something that I got kind of like it's amazingly complete for how old it is. It's a used set, but it's a lot of it's still there, including the original instruction manual. And I'm very excited to go through it and watch it or show you guys. And I'm doing this for a couple of reasons. One, I want to share this with the community. I think that there's enough people who care about this just like I do to come and watch this and go through it. If you watch this channel for any amount of time, you know I've done this with old magic books and things that have come into my possession before. I have kind of a strange, very old magic library that I've been growing over time. And this is the newest addition to it. The other reason that I want to do it is I want to be able to digitally preserve this kind of thing, because how often do you see something like this? You don't, and it's a part of our history as magicians, and so I think it's important to go through and as much meticulous detail as we possibly can go through the objects in this and record it so that way it can be enjoyed and appreciated by future generations. So I hope you're as excited as I am. I'm hoping we have a whole bunch of people come on the stream. I'm gonna go through the whole thing. Whether or not anybody shows up, this video will stay up for in perpetuity. Okay, and I've got some vinyl gloves here. I don't know what materials are in there. It's like I said, it's close to 100 years old, so there could be things like lead paint. There could be things like could be old. There could be mold spores. There could be all kinds of things that I don't know. I just don't know, and I figure it's probably better to err on the side of caution, not only to protect myself, but also protect the objects in this case from my own finger oils and sweats and things. So we're going to use vinyl gloves, and we're going to open that up. Now, you can't see it. We kind of see it. It's in the frame here on the sofa. I'm going to go grab that. Okay. And here it is. I'm very excited to show this to you guys. And I have an overhead camera. That's what this big hunking piece of crap right in front of my face is. So we're gonna switch over to that camera here in a second. Darth by Magic kit. This is an old Magic kit, Joe. Hi, Joe. If you guys don't know, Joe Southwell is my best friend in the world. I've known him, coming up on 20 years, and he's really he's more family than friend at this point. So my brother from another mother. Okay, so thanks for coming on the stream, Joe. I'm really excited to show this to everybody. It's pretty exciting. I'm going to switch over to the other camera now, the overhead camera. I don't know how this is going to look on stream. I might have to do some adjustment. Forgive me. I don't want to make you guys nauseous or anything, but I want to make sure you guys can see. Well, that shows up pretty darn good, doesn't it? All right, let's move my keyboard out of the way. So thank you for asking. I do want to share that story. So it's a little bit of a long-winded story, but I want to give as much background as I can. So the story goes that I perform at I perform a magic show every summer, or several magic shows every summer, at a place called the Dinosaur Company in Allen, Texas. And it is it's an old client of mine at this point, and I've been doing a lot of shows for them over the years. I've made a lot of friends there at the company, and there was there's a lady there named Diane who I'm very good friends with. We share a lot of similar nerdy interests, and she messaged me one day and said, "Hey, would you have any interest in something like this?" And then showed me a picture of the box, and I was like, yeah, I would. That's incredible. And she's like, "Well, it's yours if you want it." And I was like, "Really? Wow, cool. Thank you. I don't know, and so it's been weeks in the sound is iffy. Is that true? Is that the sound? You guys having problems with the sound? Please let me know if it's just big hands. If anybody else is having issues with the audio, please let me know. Okay, I want to make sure everybody can hear. Okay. Um, so she reaches out to me and says, "Hey, I have this magic kit. Do you want it?" And I was like, "Yeah. Where did you come across this?" And I didn't really know. I didn't have the story until today. And the story is, I believe it was one of her family members' ex brother-in-law, and they were really interested in thrifting and did all that kind of stuff. So they came across this kit, and then later um, were unable. Well, I have to kind of nerf the story a little bit, um, but they were in a position where they were not able to keep this any longer. Okay, and there was just a bunch of these possessions and thrift items and stuff around the house, and they needed to get rid of it, and they didn't know what to do with it. And Diane said, "Well, I have a friend who's a magician. He may be interested." And so this was just gifted to me. And so, Diane, I owe you a huge gratitude, and I really appreciate this. This is something really cool, and it will be very good taken care of. Okay, so this is the Aladdin semi-professional magic kit. Okay, and the way it came is, there's tape on here which I don't believe is original. I think it's to try to keep the box from deteriorating anymore. I think the corners were coming off, or the sides of the box were coming off, and then the contents itself are wrapped in a they're wrapped inside of a plastic wrap, which you can kind of see under here. And I have not opened this. So I'm going to go through this and open it up, just as you can see. And I did open the lid here before, and we'll get to the contents of the box in a minute. But I don't know who this is, but I'm going to show you on the inside here. There's an inscription. It says Peggy Pittman. Okay, I don't know if anybody knows who that is, but it's in cursive there on the underside of the box. I assume it's whoever it belonged to before, Peggy Pittman. And if anybody knows who that is, I would be very curious to know the story behind Peggy. But there's the lid. Okay, not much to it besides that. There's a lot of extra tape that's been added to try to keep the box intact. This is kind of a heavy cardstock, and it seems like it has a laminate with a faux leather finish on it. And that's pretty neat. The printing is not embossed. It's printed directly on there, but you get this really nice yellow printing on there. And then there's this little, you can see here, this little, right here, this little design, which I can see if I can bring up to the camera so you guys can see that a little bit more. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to move this off to the side. Now here's the exciting part. This is the contents of the case, and you can see it's pretty complete. Most of the stuff is here, including what I believe is the original tissue that was placed in there to cushion the products there. So this is plastic wrap. I'm sure was added after the. Peggy is written. That is cursive written on the inside. There you can see where the pen makes an indentation in the cardboard. That was written in there, not printed. So Peggy Pittman was a person to whom I assume this belonged at some point. Which is, I don't want to sound, non-inclusive here, but it is unusual to see a woman's name on the inside of a box, especially of a magic kit this old. Magic is traditionally a very male-dominated art, and to find a woman's name on the inside is, to me, unusual. So might need a cutting tool here. I don't know how this is attached. And forgive any kind of ungraceful movements with in regards to either the sound quality or the camera or shakiness. I'm trying to do my best here, but I'm not set up to do conservation level stuff, and so I'm doing the best with what I got here. So I think I am going to get a knife to cut this. If I pull on this cardboard, I think I'm going to pull the cardboard apart. So let me grab a kniffy here. All right, I'll be right back. My trusty Skeletool. Can I think of any? I think the traditional ones that most people would think of would be people like maybe like the Georgia peach. She, was the lady who could not be lifted and that kind of thing. So you had people who had acts where they would demonstrate that they were stronger than men or could not be lifted up by men. You had husband and wife acts from that time. See, I don't even know what some of this stuff is. Like, I have no idea what this is. This might be a box of cards, but it's so old. You can see that on the plastic wrap, some of the paint has started to come off onto the plastic wrap. And I want to actually completely remove this from the plastic too, because I believe that there are pieces that are hidden underneath the top layer of the box. And I want to be able to move this all out of the way to move through here. And I can see kind of what we're getting into here, okay? Now, things have shifted around. I'm not sure what belongs with what necessarily. But this is all wood and metal objects. You can see there's quite a bit of rust on some of these things. I don't know what this does, so I'm cautious to open it, okay? These appear to have been wax crayons at some point that melted, okay? Again, not sure what any of this is. I'm more familiar with modern magic kits that are all plastic. And so to see magic kits of this era and ilk with wood and metal components is very unusual. I don't know what this is for. I assume it might have been for the crayons. It has a little lid, a little wooden dowel type case with silver paint on it that's cracking pretty severely at this point. Yeah, and there is some mold in here, so I have to be careful about breathing this stuff in. Okay. That card feels like it's made of metal, which is interesting. This is like a cardboard, paperboard box. Can I move up or the kit down? I can move up a little bit. It's again a balancing act with the microphone and all of that stuff, but as if this is better, hopefully. Okay. So we have this box here. That's got some kind of molding on it. It looks like it's made of paper. There's a metal plate in there, and then there's the rest of that box. And then there's everybody's favorite playing card, the bicycle playing card. But this is very old. As you can see, eat your heart out, 1800s deck from Illusionist. This is very, very old. And I'm not sure exactly what that does. So I'm gonna set that down aside for a moment now too. There's all kinds of stuff coming off. There's a paper box with 3 holes in it. It feels pretty rigid, so I wonder if it's like paper mache or if that's wood on the inside. I'm not sure what exactly that's for. There's this, which I imagine is probably, oh boy. Well, I guess I won't be pulling the cork out of that. I broke the cork a little bit. Let's see if I can move the camera down. You guys can't see. I'm having to also try not to give you a shot of my lap the whole time. Okay. I tried to pull the cork out of it. The cork is so brittle it broke there, so I have to be very, very gentle. But you can hear there's a little rattle in there, and I'm pretty sure I know what this is for. Okay. There's a set of wooden discs that are painted red, yellow, and blue on cord with a silver ball on the end, silver wooden ball. This appears to me, I know what this is. I'm pretty sure I know what this is. This looks like a pole, and I don't know if that's elastic. I think it was elastic, but it's very brittle now, so I'm not going to pull on that. But this looks like a pull. You would hold this in your hand like this, and you would push a handkerchief down into that, and then let go, and then that would fly under your, your dinner jacket or what have you. Okay. Put the paper out. This looks like the original paper. Nothing under there, it seems. A magic wand. This is carved from wood and painted. And if you guys have any questions as we're going through here, please want to see them in the comments. There's that, and that feels like a nicely shaped wooden dowel. It's not very flat on the ends. It actually has a curved bevel as you reach the edge here, which probably is why it stayed in such good condition and it hasn't splintered at the edges here, which normally would happen if you didn't do a nice smooth bevel like that. So, and then there's also a groove cut between, I don't know if you can see this, there's a groove cut between the white and the black parts, just a thin groove that goes all the way around to separate the two sections, and it's on both sides. It feels like a solid wand. I don't think there's any gaff or gimmick to this wand. It's just a wand, as far as I can tell. When I see grooves like that, the first thing I think of is that like one part of it unscrews or pops off, but in this case I don't think so. Okay. There is this, which I'm very unsure about. I have no idea what this is. This is a glass, actual glass tumbler filled with some kind of brown material. Wouldn't the directions to what? Yes, there is a book, and we'll go through that too. Absolutely. That's right here. I will go through that. Okay. So that seems to pull out. I don't think it was originally. I think this is rusted or the paint's chipping off. This is a metal cylinder with a flat top, and it fits perfectly snugly into the glass. I'm sure this is for an appearance of some kind. Okay, there's a bottle. This is a glass bottle that has been painted on the inside with a cord around it and a ball on the end of the cord. Okay. This, I don't know what this is. This is very unusual. So it looks like a cardboard or paperboard tube. It's pretty stout, actually. And on the inside you have no adornments, but on the outside you have this white metal cap with a hole in it. And then we have here, which I recognize this too, this is a coin slide. There's a ball of yarn, and then there's a metal coin slide for making the coin go into the center of the ball of yarn, and that's a very old ball of yarn. The coin slide looks to be almost in brand new condition. It's painted black, and there's no signs of corrosion from here. It seems to be in very good shape. Now, there's also these little strips of paper, which I imagine was padding. That's still actually pretty decent shape. And I'll come around here too. There's this in here, which I don't know what this is. I'm afraid to take this out, but I believe this was sponge balls. I believe that's what it was, but they seem to have fused with the paper that they were held in. And I can't even remove those, but they're just little mossy looking green balls that have like a foam look to them, but they're hard and kind of deflated and crumbly. So I'm not gonna remove those. Okay. Now, if we look at this, I know how crumbly old paper can be. This is the Aladdin Semi-Professional Magic Act. There's Peggy Pittman's name again written on the, and there's this cross with the dots in the at the ends of the cross there. That seems to be something that was on the inside of the lid as well. So that's interesting. It says price $1. Nothing on the back. Seems to be some molding. And it looks like it was held together with staples. There's a staple here, and there's another staple here that's rusted. I don't know if you can see that. It says, I'm not going to read through everything, but I will put this on screen and you can pause it and read it at your leisure. Okay. The paper is kind of looks like it has a slick sheen to it, almost like newsprint. Okay. And you know what I'll do too? For members of the channel, I will take high resolution photos of these and post these for channel members too. So if you want to get a better look at these, I'll do that. There doesn't seem to be any illustrations yet. Oh, I say that, and then there's an illustration. Okay, there's the pull. The pages come loose. All right. Now it appears from reading this or kind of getting glances, there are bits of this that are missing. And it looks like this was made by the Petrie Lewis Manufacturing Company, New Haven, Connecticut. Sold by all reliable magic dealers. I'm not even familiar with that company. So there's the book. You've seen most of the props, but we're not all the way there yet. Oh, I also didn't mention these painted balls down here. I didn't go through these. The paint is just flaking off. I don't know if you can see, but there's a lot of like little tiny confetti down in there. These appear to be just painted balls on a length of cord. And then, of course, I think everybody recognizes this right away, which is the multiplying balls. This is before it was made out of sponge balls. These are wooden balls that have been painted with a red paint. That's, of course, coming off there. And then this is a painted metal dome. And what you would do is you would, I mean, this trick is still popular today. You just place the shell over top and then separate it with your fingers to do something like that. So this is still a very classic trick, multiplying balls. You just generally done with sponge balls these days. Okay. There seems to be a silk handkerchief, which is in surprisingly good condition. It's pink. I don't know if that was the initial color or if that's just been just bleached with age. But there's that. And then here's a slate, which is very interesting. Wow. Oh, very cool. Okay. So this is an original slate, like you'd see like in any of the um, what am I trying to say? Practical Mental Effects by Ted Anneman. You see this in there all the time. And when I was lifting it up, this slate portion came off, and there's actually writing underneath. It says spooks. It says spooks under there. So somebody at some point wrote the word spooks on this board and never erased it. I don't know if it was the original owner, but that's really cool. And you notice there's even like a jaggedness to the handwriting, which tried to make it look spooky, I suppose. That's really fascinating. Wow. This appears to be actual slate too. It's very heavy. In really great condition. And yeah, it really is actual slate, because you could see, or rock of some sort, because you can see a scratch throughout here, and on the inside of that scratch you can see deeper, and that looks like that's rock in there, which is very surprising. And then this seems to be some kind of painted paperboard made to sit in there like that. Incredible. All right. And then let's move. I believe there's other stuff underneath. There seems to be elastic cord that held some of this down at some point. And I don't know if there's another layer to this or not. It's a bewitched dial. Okay. The red and green printing on it. Nothing on the back. And then I don't know if I believe there is another layer here. There is, in fact, another layer here. There is some stuff hiding underneath that. Okay. So here is an old thumb tip. This is still work. That's great. It's made of metal. Again, it's painted metal. This is actually in surprisingly great shape. There seems to be little to no cracking of the paint on that. It's much smaller than you would expect a modern thumb tip to be, which is quite a bit longer now. It's going to be about this long, and it has no flexibility at all. This is a hard thumb tip. There's an old book by Melbourne Christopher called 101 Tricks with a Thumb Tip. And he references, and most of the effects that are in that book reference using a metal thumb tip. Things like dousing a cigarette in your fist or creating hard wraps underneath a table all require this kind of metal thumb tip. And this is incredible. Very cool to see. Very cool. I'm just kind of peeking underneath here to see if there's anything else. The box is in disrepair. It is falling apart. Yep, that side is not even attached to anything. It's just held on by the plastic. Okay. I want to see if there's anything underneath, hiding secretly underneath all of our little boxes here. Everything's rattling around, and just checking underneath to make sure there's nothing else. I think that's going to be it, though. What's amazing is that some of these props are still perfectly usable. The coin slide is still perfectly usable and in great shape. The slate, honestly, if I didn't care about keeping that spook handwriting on there, this is perfectly usable still. This is in very good shape. And the thumb tip is in very good shape. So there it is, guys. There is my very old magic kit. I couldn't find a date. In fact, I want to look at the book one more time and see if I can find a date on it. I'd really like to know how old this is. I know it's very old. I don't see a date. I couldn't place how old this is exactly. I have no idea. Now, Joe, to your point, the person who I got this from would have no idea who Peggy Pittman is, because the person I got it from got it secondhand from a secondhand. It's quite a few portions removed, and the person that I got it from a person that they can no longer speak to. We'll say that. So they can no longer communicate with one another. And so even if that person knew who she got it from, there wouldn't be any way to find out. So I am going to peek under here real quick and see if I can see underneath the box and see if there's anything on the bottom. I have not looked on the bottom yet. No, it just appears to be just black underneath there. I'll move this off my desk. Oh, there it is, guys. That was a fascinating look at a very old magic kit. I couldn't tell you how old it is. I was hoping that the book itself would give us some kind of clue or indication of just how old it was when it was printed, but I don't see anything in there indicating any of that. So I'm not entirely sure. Focus on the books. So see if I can find it. It is called the Aladdin Semi-Professional Magic Kit. Or Magic Act, excuse me. Let me pull out the book. The Aladdin, let me switch cameras. The Aladdin Semi-Professional Magic Act. And if somebody would like to make a note of this, on the back here, the very last page, it says Petrie Lewis Manufacturing Company, New Haven, Connecticut. Petrie spelled Petrie hyphen Lewis Manufacturing Company Incorporated, New Haven, Connecticut. And if anybody comes up with anything, I'd be very fascinated to know. You know a site, but I dare not say it. It wouldn't be ask a certain person, would it? In fact, let me take a little peek too. Let's do a little bit of internet sleuthing, shall we? Let's see if we can find anything real quick. Okay, so Okay, so there's Magicpedia, which says the Petrie Lewis Manufacturing Company (P&L) was located in New Haven, Connecticut from 1919 to 1968. So that puts us in at least that time frame, 1919 to 1968. Named after the partners John Petrie and Thomas C. Lewis, it was founded when Petrie left the Misto Magic Company to go into partnership with Lewis in 1917. The company was later incorporated in 1923. So we said it was incorporated, right? It said that in the printing, so we know it's after 1923, but up to 1968. Lewis, a non-magician, left in the 1920s when it was replaced by Petrie's son, J. Walter Petrie. On John A. Petrie's death in 1954, proprietorship passed to J. Walter Petrie. Its name and logo were purchased around 1969 by Abbott's. The firm's illustrious name was revived briefly around the mid-1980s by a dealer in Seffner, Florida. Fascinating. So we know it's somewhere between 1923 and 1968 is the manufacturing date. There's also the Connecticut Museum of Culture and History, which I will send you guys. I'm going to sign into the chat, which is I don't like how I don't like how Streamlabs handles this. But let's take a little peek here. So there's the P&L book. I'm looking up. There's Genie magazine. There is a museum, which I want to look at. I'm going to send you guys. I'm going to leave you guys the Connecticut. Well, no, it's not going to give you anything, but it's the Connecticut Museum of Culture and History. But that's not going to directly relate to what we're talking about here. I'm looking the Davenport collection. Let's take a look at that. That seems promising. And I'm going to give you guys a link for what I'm looking at. Of culture and history, but that's not going to... All right. You know, Kevin, I don't actually know which website you're referring to. I wish I did. So it looks like there are, the Davenport collection says a growing resource on magic and entertainment history. And there is, well, they only have the boomerang trick listed on here. I don't know if there's other... Yeah, just that. That's all they have listed, is that. Fascinating. Martin's Magic Collection. I'm just trying to take a look at. There are some. Well, this is a for sale thing, so this isn't really going to help us. But there's some there are some stuff out there on the internet, but I'd have to do a lot more sleuthing to find out where exactly this lies in the history. Yeah, the best I can give you guys is somewhere between 1923 and 1968 is the manufacturing date. It seems closer. My experience with other magic apparatus from different time periods, this feels like it would have been manufactured towards the earlier part, not the later part of that time span. Just the quality of the materials, the type of the styling, the paint, the use of wood and tin, they really kind of push me more towards the earlier part of that timeline, somewhere closer to the 1923 to 1940 is kind of where I feel that probably ends up. Once you get much past there, you start seeing like Bakelite, and you start seeing plastics, and you start seeing other things work their way in, and the font and the presentation becomes much different after a certain time period, after about the 40s or early 50s. After that, it starts to take on a little bit of a different look and feel. So, you know, guessing, spitballing, but I feel it is probably closer, probably 1950 or before in my experience. want to tell, but I got banned for a bit from this site. I'm very knowledgeable in magic. Well, hey, maybe Kevin, maybe you and I can connect after the chat some way. I'd really like that. I have a Discord where you can join. There's links all over my channel page and other places where you can reach out to me directly through Discord. I'd love to start the conversation over there and learn what you know. That'd be interesting. I also have a Facebook page, the Magic Minute Facebook page. You can find me there and send me a direct message. That would also be great. I'd love to hear more about your thoughts on it. Does anybody else have any questions before I close down the stream here? I'd like to be able to see if we can find a date to associate with this. It's quite old, and I'd really like to be able to place it somewhere. And I don't know if there's anybody that does restoration on these things, but that might be pretty interesting to see too. I'm gonna have to find a way to safely store it. It does have mold and some other things growing in it, and so it's probably not safe to breathe around. So I'm gonna wrap it up and put it in a safe place in my finished garage to keep it in a safer environment for the family. But just an incredible piece, and I'm so thankful to Diane for sharing this with me and with all of us here. And I hope you got some enjoyment out of it. I know I certainly did. That was like walking back in time. Crazy. I do want to, before I go, I want to make some announcements too. There's some things, I made some notes here I wanted to tell you guys about, because I am doing streams kind of sporadically right now, but on my roster of things to do is Michael John is going to be on the program on the live stream pretty soon. I'm going to have Michael John. He's the creator of Pretty Penny, which was just a massive success on Penguin Magic that just came out. I've been talking with him, and he's amenable to coming on the program, and let's talk about Pretty Penny, its development, his history in magic, all that kind of stuff. So I want to bring him on. He's going to be coming on pretty soon. I also have, I'd still like to get Shamir Salim on. He's a good personal friend and somebody who has created some of the world's best magic apps. So I want to have him on pretty soon. I have some reviews. I have a review on Black Mirror coming up, the Black Mirror project. I have another video comparing Black Mirror to Devious, which I did a live stream on, but I think I want to give it a more serious, hard look. And then I've got some other things coming up. So please stay tuned to the channel, especially the interviews. Those are going to be incredible. We're going to have some really talented, we've already had some amazingly talented magicians on the channel. And we're not done. We're going to be bringing a lot of really great magicians on. And so come and hang out for those. Those are more fun when we all get to talk and interact and chat with them. So look forward to Michael John coming on hopefully in the next week or so. I have to find out what's going to work for his schedule in mind, but we're going to have him on, and for those other video reviews and things coming out pretty soon. Thank you guys so much for coming and joining me on the stream. I really appreciate it. I'm going to go gently pack this up and put it in a safe place, and I will see you guys next time. Y'all have a great night.